We're here today with Queen Quet. She is the queen of the Gullah Geechee Nation. How are you doing?
Oh, me glad for day. You bless up and thing like that. How honor to do?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good learning that language. We've had such a great time just kind of touring different areas in Georgetown, South Carolina, actually. And we have been learning so much about Gullah Geechee. And how did Gullah Geechee come about? How did the culture form?
Gullah Geechee culture began on the Sea Islands in roughly the 1500s when the first
Okay.
Africans started really coming over. Where I am, I'm a native of St. Helena Island in Beaufort County, South Carolina. And so that is where someone named Elion, he first landed and named it Santa Elena, all right, after his patron saint and the beauty of the place, he said. But that group of people didn't stay there but a short period of time. And you had others that went up into the PD, brought some more Africans into the PD. Those
Mhm.
Africans escaped, joined in with the indigenous people there, and formed some of the first Gullah Geechee communities between the PD area and our coast right here on the Carolina coast. And so the culture started to evolve because they amalgamated their languages, their food ways, their spiritual traditions and everything, and blended them, and over time created first a pidgin and then established an entire culture that has its own language, its own dialect, its own musical traditions, its own spirituality and everything. And so it evolved more as chattel enslavement kept going in the 16, the 17, the 1800s, where more and more Africans were brought in. And then we spread out from Charlestown, north and south along the Carolina coast, and eventually into Georgia and Florida as well.
Tell us about Gullah Geechee Nation and your role.
hmm Plenty of time when people are coming through you and things like that, the first time they knew a first day in a place like this, yeah, yet it is. So the first indicator that people are even in the Gullah Geechee Nation most times is they hear the Gullah language or they hear our dialect Geechee. So I am the elected chiefess and head pundit body or head of state for the Gullah Geechee Nation, and I'm the official world spokesperson for Gullah Geechees from Jacksonville, North Carolina to Jacksonville, Florida. And then our nation, of course, goes inland 35 miles to the St. Johns River.
What is the mission of the culture? What's the culture all about, and what is the mission?
Well, our mission as Native Gullah Geechees is to keep our culture alive. And so what our culture is about is sustaining, retaining, and passing on to the next generation the traditions that were left behind by our ancestors, who were those people who were indigenous to this land, such as the Yamasee, Kusabo, Adisto, Cree, and all the different Africans that were forcibly brought to what are now called the Sea Islands.
And so, what are some of those traditions that you all value within the culture?
So there's no way to have a culture and not have numerous components to it. So all of it is of value to us, right? To
Yes.
most people, all they think about is our language, the Gullah language. So we glad that thing, yeah, and thing like that, and love the flow and thing like that. But more than we than that. So it's a lot more than just that. And the shout tradition and the
Okay.
spirituals. So we still hold on to that, as well as the water, as you see me right here on the shoreline. The water to bring you, the water going to take we back. So the water, keeping it safe and healthy is valuable because sea work is one of our major traditions. And you know quite well, I know, that we love for nam punting from the sea. So we love eating seafood as well. And the more healthy we keep the water, the more healthy we will be, as well as the fish that are out there in the sea. So we're trying to protect this coast and sustain it because we're also in a hurricane zone. So it's very important to keep our homeland so we can keep the cultural heritage alive.
Great. Thank you so much, Queen. This was absolutely awesome.